What's up, fam? It's me, your host, LJ Tucker, and we're back with another episode of 7,000 Volts Living an Electrified Life. Here's the thing about success, it's colorblind. That's our topic for today. Success is colorblind. It doesn't care if you white, black, purple, pink, or yellow. Whatever you consider yourself, whatever nationality you consider yourself, success doesn't care. Because here's the thing, it's colorblind. So let's dive right into it. Success simply says you reap what you sow. It don't care if you're rich, you're poor, you're ignorant, you're dumb. The formula for success is your work. What is the effort that you put in? If you put in no effort, that's what you get. You get no effort success. If you're mediocre and you put in mediocre work, then you have mediocre success. People that are more successful put in more hours. So if you're working on a job and you're able to work more hours and you work less hours, please, Jimmy, don't get mad at Johnny because he worked 50 hours or more hours. And newsflash, for people that think business owners has all this abundance of money just laying around, I'm speaking from personal experience as we speak. I put in a lot of hours as a business owner, and it's not because I have to. I want to. I want to put in the hours because the more hours I put in, the successful I become. There's work, in fact, the 168 hours that we get in a week, sometimes it's just not enough. But I have to find that balance within those hours because I have 5 children that plays different sports. And as a good parent, as a father that wants to be involved, I have to divide that time up and bring the balance to make sure that I don't miss. Now, this past week I missed David's baseball game because Michael had a soccer game at the exact same time. So me and Adele, my wife, had to split up. She went one way and I went that way. But guess what? There was a parent present at each game as we cheered on to support the things that our kids do. That's balance. But that's what also makes us successful. We give 120%, if not more, to make sure that our kids are going to be successful too. Because success, again, is colorblind. It doesn't care the color of your skin. It doesn't care your background. It doesn't care about anything but the effort that you put in. We can put effort in complaining, and guess what? You can successfully become a good complainer and become really, really good at complaining, really good at having excuses why you're not where you set your goals to be. A lot of times we do put effort in things that's just noise, that has no relevance to our success and to our growth in life. And that's the very thing to keep us back. If we put the same time and energy into things that we want in life, whether it's a job or a business or an idea that we have, we'll be more successful. Guess what? When I was on the other side of the law and I was breaking the law, committing crime, I put time in how I was going to commit these crimes. And so I was successful at being a criminal. I didn't just show up and be like, oh, we're going to try to rob this or we're going to sell drugs over here. No, I put, even though it was looking for the right, even though I considered myself being an oxymoron at the time because I knew better and I chose not to do the things that I knew what to do was right, I was still successful at being a criminal, even though that's not the life I wanted to live. And I say this because what you water in your life will grow. What you put time and energy to will grow. So it's as challenging as it may be, the next time you go to complain, remember this. Success is colorblind. It doesn't care what it is that you do. It's almost part of the seed of the earth. It's like what you put in, you'll get the full results from it. Good, better, and different. Success will always multiply the time and effort that you put into it. It doesn't care if you're from the hood. It does not care at all. The law of harvest does not care whether it's legal or right. It multiplies and it gives back to what you put into it. It pains me to say that. I have no control of it. It pains me to say that you can do bad, and it'll multiply. And for a criminal that's thinking, hey, how can I do this? You're going to reap that harvest. It's either early grave or a prison sentence. How do I know? I put in energy, and it gave me a prison sentence as a youth, as an adolescent. And I found out quick that that's not the life that I wanted for myself. And I'm glad I chose that, because the life that I have for myself, the life of abundance, the life of family, the life of being a businessman is more on cue to the life I want for myself. But understand this, the next time you go to make an excuse to, well, I was born on the wrong side of the track, or this or that, and there's some truth to some things, but it doesn't stop there. We get to unlearn some bad behaviors that was taught to us or wasn't taught to us, and we get to move forward to a life that we want for ourselves. I speak so much about this in my book, 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life. I don't know if you have a copy yet, but get yourself a copy. I get more in detail, because I can't possibly cover everything on this podcast that's in that book. But speaking on the topic today, there is nothing in life that you can't have. There's no place that you can't venture into and be successful at it if you put in the time, because you're successful now, whether you know it or not. You're successful at being a complainer. If that's what you do, you're successful at not living in peace, drama being a part of your life, if that's the life that you paint it out to be. Whatever you decide to be in life, whatever you want to be successful at, you are in direct control of it. Now, I admit, there's a lot of things that you have no control over, but the things that you do have control over is your own success. Not your mama, not your daddy, not your sister, not your brother. You are responsible for that success that you have or you don't have. If you don't like what you're successful at, this is why you're listening to me on my channel, 7,000 Volts, is because I'm giving you nuggets, whether you apply them or attach them to your life or not. That's another choice that you have to make in order to make you successful or non-successful. So ask yourself this: what fruit do you want to grow? Some people are good at destruction because those are the seeds that they planted for themselves. It's simple. If you find a person that complain about their neck and their back and their neck, and they always have medical issues, guess what? What you talk about grows. Love is not colorblind. It gives you what you ask it: good, bad, or indifferent. Here's when reality shows up, when we get tested in life. You heard the saying, King Kong, Donkey Kong. Denzel said it best in Training Day: King Kong ain't got nothing on me. When he was doing his thing. And that's the reality of life. We heard the three little bears, the big bad wolf. I'm gonna huff, I'm gonna puff, and I'm gonna blow your house down. These things, when we're tested without true discipline, without a true plan for our life, when life storms happen, oh, the big bad wolf, he's gonna blow your house down. See, the reality, the true dreams and true success happens not when the people are watching. It's in quiet. Are you disciplined enough to do what needs to get done? I can make a mistake here on my podcast, and I have a good guy in Ryan. He's going to edit those mistakes out. But that's just, that's because I'm shooting a podcast. You can't always edit things when in the heat of the battle. So we practice. What do we practice? We practice the things we want to be good at. We set goals to where we're trying to go. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your background. You practice these things to create a better life for yourself, to create a better ending. I mentioned this before, and I might have mentioned in my book. The two things I know that's free in life is salvation and oxygen. And some people find a way to screw up their oxygen, where they have to be on oxygen tank by putting things and doing things to their body. It requires them to have to buy the oxygen, because their body is no longer able to accept the free oxygen that God gave them from birth. Dreams are free. Discipline is what makes them real. So it's easy to look at my life or celebrity life, somebody that we admire, and we're like, oh man, they had it good. They don't see behind the scenes the work that goes on, the sweat, the blood, the sweat, the tears that gets a person to the pinnacle of their success. And it starts with our words. It starts with being in that quiet place. It's easy to say what we want, but it's not always easy to stay disciplined. And when we stay disciplined, we can reach the true goals that we want and less of the things that we don't want, because we're going to have what we say we're going to have, because that's just the laws of how God set things up. Again, success don't care who you are. It's colorblind. It is so colorblind that it doesn't know, period. It doesn't know. If you put in work and effort, you'll yield the fruits of that labor. As I mentioned it before, the world only gets to see the highlight reels. People are not interested in seeing the whole story. Like, you don't see me when I get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning and start my day. When I put those boots on and they hit the ground, they see the polished version. Like, you're seeing the polished version of this episode because of the mistakes I make, whether I sneeze or cough or I lose my train of thoughts. My man Ryan French, he's going to edit that part out just for the sake of time, so it's not like a run-on sentence. Unless we go live, you get to see some of the mistakes. But until then, you get to see the polished version of me. You don't get to see the me that grew up in poverty, the part of me that really struggled, the part of me that didn't always make the right decisions. You get to see the polished version of me. And unless if you're really close to me, and you don't get to see that vulnerable side of me, besides what I get to do when I'm here in the studio recording these messages, hoping that you can grasp some of this piece, some of these nuggets that I give to help you have a better life. So you don't get to see when a truck breaks down or the kids are not having a good day and I have to be more stern with them. You get to see the videos and pictures of their good days. You don't get to see the unpolished side. You get to see the side that you want to see. And so that's where people get a little confused. They just think that they can show up and they can be Michael Jordan or Tom Brady, but you don't see the work that they put in to become who they are, or the work that they put in to become the legends that they became. The process is always private, but the results are always public. The mess of my life, the mess of the things I went through, is where the message was born. But you only get to see the message, you don't get to see the mess. My grandmother had a saying she used to always say, and I didn't understand it when she said it as a younger kid. She said, don't count your eggs before they hatch. Like, Grandma, why you always say that? She said, you just don't count them eggs before they hatch. And so now I get it. Basically, don't celebrate before the work is done. Because sometimes we get these visions, we get excited, and it's good to project, but we also got to put in the work. It's because when you put in the work, there's no mistake of the outcome. When you put the time in, what you put your time in will grow. And sometimes we forget, we get so excited, and then we become lazy, and we start thinking about what we want. We start thinking about the physical part of it, and we start relying on the work that we have to put in to keep it. You know, we start counting those eggs before they hatch. Oh, last week I was able to do XYZ last week. Or last year this time the bonus was $1,000. So I'm gonna go ahead and plan to do this or do that, but the company didn't do that well, so your bonus is only $200. You counted your eggs before they hatch. So until you got that check in your hand, that bonus is just a bonus because it's never guaranteed. So I understand that meaning. Don't count your eggs before they hatch. Sometimes she'll say, don't count your chickens before you get them. Like, you know, she used to put those little nuggets out there. And, you know, she lived in a different time, a different generation. So, but it's those lessons that I've learned. And I shared some of this stuff in my book to try to give you more of a preview on how I grew up and some of the things that I love from my grandmother. And man, success, it doesn't care who you are, my friends. It really doesn't. If you become determined enough to be successful, you'll put in the work, because everybody, whether you know it or not, we're already successful at something. One of the keys is stay successful, stay committed to what you want, because it'll give you back exactly what you put in. You cannot cheat the grind. It knows how much you deposited. So Here's my challenge to you this week. Take a look at what you're planning right now, your habits, your time, your energy, because whether it's good, bad, or nothing at all, success is colorblind, but it's never careless. You're always succeeding at something. The question is, what are you succeeding at? Thank you for your time. Have a great week and continue to live that electrified life.